Welcome to Alwyn's Palace live training series. This is week 2 out of the 9 weeks that we'll be training on how to get activated, how to operate in our purpose, how to come into agreement with our kingdom identity, how to heal, and how to walk boldly in all that God has called us to do. This week, we will be talking about unlocking wholeness. Last week, we activated our kingdom identity as daughters of Christ, loved, chosen, secure, and called. And today, we are on the topic of healing the woman behind the call. I believe that this session is meant to go deeper into identity. Now that we understand who we are, it's important that we move forward and move towards dismantling the narratives and the emotional wounds that we may carry and that may be still lingering. We want to address them at the root, and they will be able to help us, move forward with clarity, obedience, and with boldness. So welcome to week 2. I want to check in with everybody to just drop in a chat on a scale of 1 to 10 how you are feeling this evening. I know that we got some snow, it's cold outside. So just let me know in the chat how you're feeling on a scale of 1 to 10. If you are feeling anything below, I will say a 5, then I'm gonna pray for you. It's okay, girl. We're gonna get through it. I see a 10 in the chat, so that's good. I love that. 10s are good. I'm feeling about a 9, but I'm gonna feel like a 10 once I finish this training with y'all. So we're gonna go ahead and get started and let's go. So we're first going to touch on why we need to heal emotional wounds. So why we need to heal emotional wounds, girl. I don't know why this has to be a question. We have to get to the point of being whole. And my definition of wholeness is being complete and being harmonious. So it is a state of being unbroken or undamaged. And as women like us who prioritizes faith, we understand that it is at the forefront of our ability to operate here. So if we're emotionally wounded, we are not able to fully operate in our identity, in our purpose, and the relationships that we have. So it's going to be very important that we touch on what is actually hurting me emotionally. And as a woman, we know that we can be emotional. So this is like very important for me and for me in my work with women, touching on these wounds. So we must know that we're called to be whole and to be healed and to be complete. So I want those truths to be rooted in this training overall. And if we stay in a state of being unhealed, then we might find ourselves triggered. We might find ourselves offended, bothered, and emotionally unstable. And therefore, we forfeit who we are called to be and also what we're called to do. So let's get into why healing matters. Healing matters because unhealed wounds influence the way that we respond, the way that we relate, and the way that we lead. As Kingdom Woman, we want to make sure that we are responding in a way that is accurate of the way that God has designed us, that we are relating to people in a way that we're not being judgmental, that we're not being harmful towards other people, and that we're leading in a way that is in a manner of like just love, compassion, and just respect. We want to make sure that healing restores clarity and not just relief. This is not just us getting relief in this area or whatever area that it is that you need healing in. It's clarity in who you are as a being, as a woman, as who God has called you to be. He has called us to be whole. And God desires wholeness, but not survival. So a lot of what we're going through right now in the world is like people trying to survive. And I want you to be aware that you don't have to just survive, but you actually can live. You can actually live from a place of wholeness, a place of harmony, a place of just being complete and knowing that there is no need that you have, that there is no hurt, no pain that is going to stop you from responding in a way that's going to allow you to produce the results, to get the relationships, and to lead the people that you are called to lead. So I don't know what business idea, I don't know what area you are working in, but I want you to know that when you are able to heal then you're not going to be surviving. You're going to be operating from wholeness. It's not just going to be a relief, but you're going to get clarity on who it is that God has called you to be. And then calling, it can't sustain the wounds that you are also carrying. So when you're trying to operate in something, when you're trying to go full force in business, those wounds, those emotional wounds, whatever hurt you in the past, whatever caused that is going to keep on resurfacing until you address it head on. So we got to make sure that we just really address it, be aware of it, deal with it, and therefore we can go into who God has called us to be. So I want to just encourage you tonight that you're called to be whole and complete. You're not lacking anything, and you are fully mature. I think it is very important for us to understand too that God has called us to become mature emotionally, spiritually, physically, as we are here on this earth. And that means that we are day by day working on becoming better stewards, better women, better influencers, better in general. Whoever you are around, you want to make sure that you're getting better. And when we carry these wounds with ourselves, we're not getting better, but we're staying the same. We're staying on a low level. And that's not who He has called us to be. So we don't heal to become worthy, we heal to become whole. And God is gentle and intentional about restoration. So I want you to start to begin to see yourself as whole. Okay. So healing, it also protects the calling. So another reason why healing is important. So unhealed wounds, they distort discernment. So your ability to even perceive what is actually going on, the different interactions that you're having. When we're unhealed, we can think that somebody is being judgmental towards us. We can think that somebody is being bitter, being hateful towards us, when really that's not the case. But it is a projection of us being unhealed in a certain area. Our pain can masquerade as passion. So we can get so infuriated, we can get so enthused about a certain thing that has caused us hurt in the past and that we drive in that area. But that's not what God has called us to be. God calls us to do. And then healing, it prevents burnout and emotional leakage. So we don't want to burn out. We don't want to be just doing everything, but we want to be clear on what it is that we're supposed to be doing here in the earth because we only have a limited amount of time and we don't want to be emotionally leaking on other people. So I don't want to be going around and having instances where people say, oh, Jamesia, da 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 da. Jamesia, she just, no, 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 no. We don't want to harm other people because we fail to heal our own selves. So healing and wholeness, it strengthens your obedience. So when you're able to really understand that, okay, I need to heal this area because if I don't, then I'm not going to be able to perceive the people and the places, the opportunities around me. I'm not able to understand what is my true passion versus what has the pain has caused me to feel like I need to pursue in this moment. And then you don't want to get burnt out and you definitely don't want to bleed on other people as well. So many people, there are many women, I would say, leave assignments not because they lack faith, but because they lack healing support. So I want this space in this room to be a activator for you seeking out healing in whatever area that you are needing right now. So I know that has come up in your mind. What area do I need healing in? I want you to start thinking about that and how this kind of applies. How have you may have distorted some type of interaction with somebody, an opportunity? How has the pain hovered over like your passion and caused you to not be able to pursue a certain thing? How have you become burnt out in a certain area, or how have you even emotionally leaked on someone else because of an unhealed wound? So we want to kind of get clear. So start thinking about those things because this space is really meant for you to even sit and reflect as well. Okay. And God, He heals at the root. So God addresses the heart before the harvest. So we got to make sure that our heart is pure, that our heart is clean before we can even reap what He has for us. Our heart is the treasure. Our heart is the thing that is going to produce the stuff that we're looking forward to creating. So if our heart is filled with different wounds, different pains, different grievances against people, places, and whatever it is, then we never can reap the harvest that God has for us. He calls for us to forgive, to really sit and be honest with ourselves, to be vulnerable, to be transparent, and to really open ourselves up to Him so that He can cleanse, so that He can remove, so that He can prune, and so that He can get the glory at the end of the day for whatever it is that has transpired. In healing, it is a partnership, it's not a performance. So last week we talked about identity and how we may perform in certain areas to get a certain result, to please other people, to be looked at a certain light. But this process of healing is you're not going to perform in it. It's not how it works. You have to partner with God. And I just encourage you, if you've been trying to do it by yourself, do it with God first. Try to do it with God. It's going to be much better with Him than rather doing it on your own. You may have tried different things. You may have went to go seek out other people, other stuff, but doing it with God, I highly recommend because He has the correct way of doing things. He has the truth of doing things, and the truth is the only way to freedom. And that is what we are seeking at the end of the day: freedom from the pain, freedom from the hurt, freedom from whatever it is that is causing us not to be free in a certain area. So you're not going to perform your way to getting healed, but you are going to have to partner with God. And this is going to require that you have a certain relationship with Him, that you're spending time with Him, that you're being intentional with Him, and that you're really addressing the issues at the heart. In wholeness, it allows us to steward the calling well. So when we really partner with Him, we're able to become whole, become complete. We're able to understand and discern what is going on. And we're no longer having that hurt, that bitterness, that affliction. That's what the Bible calls it within us. And we're able to go full force in what it is that He is calling us to do. So I want to give you guys some symptoms of the unhealed woman because I think it's important to even just sit and identify, like, what does it look like if I am unhealed? And you may be questioning, like, am I unhealed? Do I need healing in this certain area? What is Jamesia talking about? But I want to just point this out right now, and then I want to just bring awareness to it. And I don't want you to feel shame. I don't want you to feel any type of way, but just sit and reflect on it and receive it as in, like, okay, this is something I can think about. Have I felt this way before about a certain thing, about a certain opportunity, about a certain relationship? Where has this come up for me? So common signs of unhealed wounds. So this can show up as you overfunctioning as a people pleaser. This can show up as difficulty resting or receiving help. This can show up as emotional reactivity or numbness, fear of letting go or slowing down. I don't know if these unhealed wounds, these signs, if they have come up for you. You can even drop in the chat. You don't gotta list which, you don't have to list which one, but just put your hand up in the chat or raise your hand like, yeah, I can identify with that. I feel like we all have at some point recognized that, oh, I may be people pleasing a little bit too much. It's hurting me because I'm trying to please this person. I may be over functioning and now I'm burning out. I can't even rest because this pain has caused me to not be able to sleep. It has caused me not to be able to reach out because somebody betrayed me, because somebody did this. I'm not willing to open myself up, or just even me being fearful of letting go or slowing down. If I slow down in my business, then I won't fill in the blank. If I let go of this, then dot dot dot. We have all of these things, these wounds, and I just want you to recognize them for what it is. They are not character flaws, but they are signals on what it is that you can improve on. We all are a work in progress. We are God's masterpiece, and we're continuously growing, continuously progressing, to get better, to become better women, to become better leaders, to become better daughters. In all of the roles that you operate in, we are continuously progressing. So recognizing these signs is not to make you feel ashamed at all, because I have a lot of myself, but it is just signals as to, okay, I can work on this in this area and get better and become whole. So how unhealed wounds, how do they show up in our lives? So our boundaries, they can feel unsafe, and we know boundaries are meant to protect us. So if it's feeling unsafe, then we need to really address that and figure out, where is this coming from? Identity tied up to productivity. We're not tied to productivity. We're not tied to performance. That's not why we're here. We're not here to do. We're here to be and to serve God. That's pretty much it. We can become hyper independent or avoidant. So you can either, I'm not letting nobody do nothing for me. I'm a bad independent woman and I can do it by myself. I don't need no man, all of that. Or you can just avoid just interactions. You can avoid different certain situations just based on past trauma, past experiences. And then you can even carry others' emotions as your own. I see this for myself a lot working in the mental health field. So making sure that I'm allowing other people to feel their own emotions, and then me just being present with them in that moment, being supportive to them. But when unhealed wounds, when they show up, we have a lack of boundaries. We don't feel safe in them. We tend to overdo, overfunction, and we recognize that productivity, that is the only thing maybe that we can control in that moment. We become hyper independent, or we can avoid. So this is not to shame anybody, but I just want you to recognize, like, how is this showing up in my life? Is it or is it not? And then carrying others' emotions as your own. Yes, we want to help people. Yes, we care about people. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we are being responsible for our own emotions, our own reactions, our own responses, and becoming who we need to be becoming. We can encourage other people as well along the way, but we can't carry what it is that they have on them. So when it goes unaddressed, the calling can become heavy. Whatever you are called to do in this room, you know what that is. It can become heavy. Relationships can feel draining. Joy is inconsistent, and faith becomes functional instead of relational. So I want to point out too, with wholeness and with healing, it is so important, because a lot of what we have to do, or what you have to do, I'm going to say, in your calling, it has to do with other people, you reaching other people. And when you're not able to address what it is that is going on internally, what has pained you in your heart, what somebody else has done to you, what has transpired in childhood, whatever that thing is, then we're not able to fully show up and operate in the relationships, in the partnerships, in the contracts, and whatever it is that we are called to do, we're not able to fully operate in those areas, because that thing, that affliction, that issue, it holds us back. And we continue to either operate in a certain pattern, over functioning, for example, or people pleasing, for example, or avoiding. We have to recognize that when we don't address this thing, then we can operate in different states of ourselves that once worked for us, that once protected us, that once was easy for us to go to. But as we grow in God and as we grow into who He has called us to be, it is going to require us to grow and to learn different skills, to learn different coping mechanisms, to address the facts and the reality of what it is that's going on that's not working for us. So when you don't address that pain, when you don't address that trauma, then whatever you're trying to do is going to be heavy, because you're always going to interact or find yourself meeting that somewhere. You're always going to be faced with that pain. You're always going to be faced with that trauma. It's always going to resurface until you address it. That relationship It may feel draining. You may be interacting with something that has caused you to, recall something that happened in the past. And then, you know, that pain, that wound is opened up again. And your joy is just up and down. God has caused us to have joy in Him, to rejoice always. So there's no reason for us to be going up and down, up and down. We don't like that. In your faith, it becomes functional instead of relational. So based on what you can do versus who you are to God and who He is to you. We want to operate from a relational stance with God, knowing that He is our Father and that we can go to Him for any and everything. That He's there to listen to us, He's there to heal us, He's there to provide for us. And in any other thing that you are needing right now, you have to know that that is a part of the relationship that He is offering you. So we got symptoms of the unhealed woman covered, tracking, retracking. Now we want to get to signs of a healed woman. And I want to kind of vision cast so that you can start to see yourself in this light and recognize, like, okay, maybe I need to do these steps to get to this area in my life or to become this version of myself. I think we're always on a journey of transforming, of becoming new, of renewing our mind. And what is this new healed woman? What does she look like? What does she sound like? How does she operate in her business, in her relationships, in her career, in her family, in her friendships? How is she operating? So I want to kind of vision cast and just shine light on what this can look like for you, because it is possible and it is a promise of God for Him to heal you. It is a truth of God for Him to heal you as well. So signs of a healed woman. So, what healing produces? So, healing produces emotional steadiness, healthy boundaries without guilt, capacity to rest without fear, and confidence rooted in identity. So, when you are healed, you are emotionally steady. You're not led by emotion, but you're able to recognize your emotions as signs that something needs to be addressed in that moment, not later on down 2 weeks later, a month later, but in that moment, we need to sit and address it. You're able to be steady emotionally. You're not going back and forth, doubting. You're not being fearful. You're recognizing when you're feeling insecure. You're recognizing when you're feeling a certain type of way, and you're bringing that under subject of what God has already called you to do, to be, and recognizing that that's not your identity. You don't have to identify with that emotion, but you only have to recognize and observe it as a sign, as a like a warning signal as to, this is something for me to get curious about. And why is this making me feel a certain type of way? We exercise healthy boundaries without guilt. We don't need to people please. We don't need to overfunction to prove ourselves. We already know that we're worthy. We already know that we're called. We already know that we're secure. We established that last week in our identity as a daughter. So there's no need for us to continue to overdo, to people please, and to overfunction, burn out ourselves. No. And we don't need to feel guilty about it. We don't. We can have boundaries that protect ourselves, that protect our rest, that protect our calling, that protect our identity so that we can live in the truth of who we are, not for the truth of what other people want us to be. So we can have capacity to rest without fear. So when you are able to heal, you don't have fear-based thinking. Not going to say you're not going to never have it, but you're going to be more aware as to when it is occurring for you. You're going to be able to rest in God, knowing that He provides for your every single need, that He is always there to protect you, to lead you, to guide you. So your capacity to rest will increase because you don't have all these pains, you don't have all these afflictions that's keeping you bound, that's keeping you insecure, that's keeping you fear bound. And then your confidence is rooted in your identity, knowing that you're a daughter, knowing that your father is the creator of the universe, knowing that your father is the big knows the beginning and your end, knowing that he made you to be more than a conqueror, knowing that he has called you to prosper in all things, Knowing that He has called you to be bold and courageous, you find confidence in those truths and you live through that. And a healed woman walks differently. So, based on where you are right now, I want you to kind of sit and reflect on these things as, am I healed? How much am I healed? Do I have the capacity to do this with God in relationship with Him? So a healed woman, she responds instead of reacts. Responding requires that you pause, that you intentionally listen to whatever it is that that other person is saying, and then you respond from a place of rationality, of logic, not out of emotion. When people tend to react, they do it impulsively. They don't take time to pause. They don't take time to really listen to that other person, but it's really out of defending the self and the need to be right and the need to not be wrong, but the need to protect self. But when you're responding, you're actually engaging with the idea that that other person has, not going against the other person and taking it personally. When you're healed, you lead with compassion and clarity. You understand that everybody deserves compassion, that we're all going through something, that every single body has had a hard life at this point, and you operate in clarity. You understand what it is that you're here to do. You understand your warning signs. You understand your triggers. You understand what it is that you are called here to do. You understand who you are, and you operate from that space, not in what you can do. The healed woman receives support with humility. So you're able to receive. As a woman, I said it last week, we're here to receive and produce and create. With that humility piece, we understand that, we can be humble, we can be open, we can receive. We don't have to be overarching or anything like that. And then obeys God without self betrayal. You don't have to betray yourself. You can have those boundaries that protect yourself, and you can obey God too. All that is how a healed woman's, how she walks differently. So healing, it supports your authority because that is the other half of these activation trainings, helping you to act boldly in whatever it is that God has called you to do. So authority, it flows from wholeness. We can't operate in wholeness in that complete form, in that harmonious form, when we are not healed, because there are parts of us that are still broken, that are still damaged. And we don't want to get to a place of leadership and put that on everybody else that we're influencing, that we're touching. We want to operate from a place of completeness, of wholeness, making sure that everybody feels, like I said earlier before, feels compassion, feels loved, and feels like their voice is being heard at the end of the day, too. Healing, it removes internal resistance. So there is a concept called cognitive dissonance when you are like stuck in between two places pretty much, and you know a certain thing, you say you believe a certain thing, but you act in a different way. So when you are unhealed, and as I mentioned before, you may act in a pattern or act in a way that once worked for you or once served you in a season, but is currently not serving you in that season. And you may undergo or maybe undergoing right now a process of trying to figure out, okay, why do I keep doing this certain thing when this happens? I know that I'm not supposed to do this, but it's been a struggle for me to release this pattern, to release this behavior, to release this automatic response that I'm having. When you are healed, you're able to remove that cognitive dissonance, that internal resistance of trying to fight between, okay, how do I shift into becoming this healed version? How do I shift into this new pattern, this new behavior, this new response? And let that old one go because it's not working for me and I'm growing, I'm maturing. As I said earlier, God has called us to mature and to grow spiritually, physically, and mentally. So peace becomes the guide. We don't want to operate in chaos anymore. We don't want to operate in fear anymore. We don't want to operate from our trauma-based self. We want to operate in peace and in ease and in flow. I think this is so important, especially now, this year, more than ever, operating from a place of peace. We're not trying to do, and overfunction, but we want to be clear on who it is that we are, what it is that we're supposed to be doing, and do that in a way that is not pressured, that we're not performing, and that we are at a state of ease. Now, it may not happen at all times that you may be operating in a state of ease, but at least you're able to recognize and to be aware of when it is that you may be, okay, I'm doing a little bit too much. Let me draw it back. And having those routines for yourself to be able to go back and rest, go back and reflect, and get back into a rhythm that's going to help you to be at peace. So, all of these healing supports your authority in the kingdom, your ability to really lead others, to lead yourself. And that's where it starts first. Can I lead myself? Can I be honest with myself about what's going on internally, about the emotions that I haven't been able to get past, to overcome? And can I really bring them to the one that can heal me for what it is, that can heal me once and for all? So, I have some declarations and I'm going to keep having them because I think it is so important for us to declare out of our mouth. You can write them down, take a screenshot, and then we will also have a replay at the end that you can go back and watch and get these from. But declarations, they are you decreeing out of your mouth because our mouth is the activating tool to the kingdom of heaven. Now, I don't know if you knew that. It's enough for us to believe in our mind and in our heart, but when we actually start to profess the things of the word and pray them out, that's when we can really start to see things change and to shift and for us to become in alignment with whatever it is that the word is saying. So these declarations are for healing. I'm going to say them out loud, and I want you to just revisit them and meditate on them too. But also, I got some scripture for you to meditate on as well. So the first one is I am allowed to heal without guilt. My healing strengthens my calling. I release the need to carry pain and silence. God meets me with gentleness and truth. I am whole and not broken. I am healed and not failing. I am supported and not alone. And I walk forward healed and free. So I want you to begin to start seeing yourself as whole again. And wholeness requires that you become vulnerable, that you become open, that you become transparent about what it is that is bothering you, what it is that has hurt you, that who has hurt you, what continues to keep you bound mentally. So what keeps you stuck? What keeps you up at night? What keeps you worried? What keeps you thinking about, the what ifs or I should have? Like, what is that thing that is keeping you stuck, keeping you bound? And then this idea of vulnerability. So you have to be vulnerable to get whole and to get healed. You have to ask yourself, when is it that I feel the safest? When is it that I feel the safest? Because vulnerability, it starts when you feel safe. Let's be real. I can't be vulnerable if I don't feel safe. I can't be open if I don't feel safe. And where is it that you feel the safest? Is that with God? And you could be honest if it is not, if you haven't had a strong foundation, a strong relationship with him, if you're still in the process of getting to know him, if you're still trying to learn who can I trust, Then I want you to ask yourself, um, are you reluctant to sit and to share and to confide in him about what hurt you? About what hurt you? Can you sit and share with God? God, this hurt me. God, this hurt my feelings. God, my emotions was hurt right here. God, however it is that you pray, but have honest conversations with him and letting him know, this is what's on my heart. This is what has pained me. This is what has hurt me. This is what's keeping me, up at night. And he wants to talk to you. He wants to heal you. He wants you to be whole. I'm gonna keep saying that this whole training. But vulnerability, it requires that you let your guard down. So you don't have to be the strong sister. You don't have to be the strong friend, the strong mother. But in the presence of God, you can be soft. You can be gentle. He's going to be gentle to you. So releasing control as well over the need and the desire to do, we're not doing, but this is a space for us to sit and to just be. And it can be uncomfortable just sitting and being vulnerable and sharing the things that hurt you out loud. So in the comments, let me know if you identify as like a self-starter, the strong friend, daughter, the one that gets the job done no matter what. And I want you to know that these identities, they don't define you. And these identities, they don't help you to heal. They don't help you to get to the root, to the heart of the issues of what it is that's causing you to be stuck. What is it causing you to not fully operate in all that God has called you to be? And I truly believe that God is waiting for us to put these identities down, to stop being strong, to stop being hyperly independent, to stop over functioning and recognize that you can depend on Him and you can rely on Him for literally everything. So I just want you to know that He is wanting that you guys just to be open and ready to receive all that He is trying to give to you. And then tonight is just healing. He's ready to heal. So some scriptures that I want you guys to study and to pray is Jeremiah 30th, Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 19, verse 17. But I will restore you to health and heal your wounds, declares the Lord. This is not like he just saying that, but I will means that it is certain and it is going to happen. Restore you to health, whatever area that is for you. I will heal your wounds, whatever that wound, that emotional wound, that physical wound that is. The Lord will restore you and he will heal. And in Psalms 147, verse 3, he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. There is a lot of women who have been brokenhearted, me included. And that is an issue of the heart that we have to address. But confessing it to God, confiding in Him, and being honest about what it is that hurt you will free you. And He will bind up your wounds. He will heal them. He will close it up. He will mend it. He will fix it. He will be there for you. So here are some activation steps that I want you guys to write down because this is an activation training because I want you to start working on these things. These are some steps that you can take to start healing. It is not an immediate thing that's going to happen. Like, ooh, Jamesia said, if I do these things, boom, 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 I'm going to get healed right there, same day. No, no, no. Take it to God. And it is a process because this is a lifelong process of becoming, of being, and of transforming. But healing in the presence of God, it can be immediate. It can be just like that, but it does require you to partner with Him. So first, I want you guys to acknowledge what is causing the wound in your heart. So what emotion have I been carrying that God needs attention? That needs God's attention. What is that emotion? So just sitting, getting in a quiet space with a journal or however you like to reflect, and acknowledging what is it that is causing this wound in my heart? What emotion? If you can't figure out what emotion it is, Google online emotion wheel, and it has a whole list of emotions that you can pick from. And you can just go ahead and Google that, pick the emotion, say with God, okay, God, I need you to work with me on this. Once you're in that area, then I need you to confess and confide to your father about this issue. So, where have I been strong instead of honest? Where have I tried to hide or cover up that, oh, it's not impacting me, it's not affecting me? I got it, I can do it, I'll overcome it by myself. Can you get honest with him about where you're trying to be strong in regards to that wound in your heart? And then what would healing allow you to release? What perception will it allow you to release? What responsibilities will it allow you to release? What relationships will healing allow you to release? What false identity will it allow you to release? And confide in him, talk to him, be vulnerable, be open with him. That is the whole point. And then lastly, believe and agree with your father's truths and promises. So this is you making sure that you're reading your word and that you're coming into agreement with it. Like, yes, I believe. Do I have faith in it though? And faith without works is dead. So if God said that he's going to heal me, then I'm going to agree with that and I'm going to start acting like I am healed. I'm not going to continue to keep acting brokenhearted. I'm not going to continue to act like I am angered. I am bitter. I am insecure about this certain thing. I am fearful, but I am going to operate in the truth that God says about me in that very thing. So, what areas do I not believe that God can heal? Again, let's be honest. What areas do you feel like God can't heal? And what are some truths and promises that I can agree and pray about? What are some truths that and promises that you can agree and pray about with God? Because prayer is our direct line to God. When we pray, God hears us. When we pray, we must pray the word back to him because that's the only way that he is recognizing what we're saying, and we are operating from his truth. We're operating from his words and able to bring down heaven to earth. We're able to have him to really have authority here on earth, and we're operating in our authority as well when we are praying the word back to him. So I want you to find some scriptures in addition to the two that I shared too about some truths about what God says about you being healed in whatever area that is, and some promises that he has promised you. Okay. And that concludes our training session. The next session is going to lead to freedom. So healing restores clarity. Clarity produces courage, and courage leads to bold activation. We're going to be talking about renewing the mind of a kingdom woman, and this has to do with mindset in general, my favorite. So the false identities, the false perceptions, and how do we take on a new mind, a new mindset of the kingdom and operating from there so that we can have authority, so that we can act boldly, and so that we can be healed in that. This is going to take place on February the 5th at 7 p.m. And I hope to see you guys there. I thank you for joining the training.